How are we doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, fantastic. It's great to get outside today. First time since we started OTAs that we were able to get outside and a little bit more space and not quite as confined, not quite as loud, and it was fun to get after it a little bit. We're on to the next phase of install, so we've hit some base downs, some red zone, and now it's third down. So good to get that introduced. And just like we've been saying all springtime, it can get ugly at times, but that's part of the learning experience for really all three phases right now. So excited about where we're headed, though. Open it up.
As far as participation goes, did not see Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, TJ Edwards. Any updates on those guys?
Yep, Jalen's not here. Kyler is dealing with soft tissue, and then TJ, same thing, little soft tissue deal. So.
Expect anybody to be out next week?
Say it again.
Who do you expect to be out next week?
Nobody. Yeah, expect full attendance.
What do you think was like the biggest point of improvement that you've seen from the first week they were here last week to now?
Well, our biggest point of emphasis as a coaching staff was really our finish, our pursuit on defense. We want to stop the ball, the momentum of the ball running through the defense in practice, even without pads on. And so it's a learning experience of what that looks like and what we're going to be about. And then offensively, we talk about the finishing aspect of getting connected down the field and blocking for our buddies. So finishing is a huge deal about what we're doing. We're very much rooted in the fundamentals and the techniques of what we're asking our guys to do. And so we saw growth last week in that way, and that's the expectation for us going forward.
Like talk about some of the small things. I know we just do. Until I get to know you, I want to know these type of
Sure,
of small things.
sure.
I saw you guys make them go back in the huddle several times. What exactly are you looking for in the huddle and as they come out of it?
Yeah, there's a certain way that the play needs to get communicated in the huddle. There's a certain way that the break should sound to us around us that means that we're ready for business and we're ready to get going. And if it doesn't sound that way, then we're just not going to allow the practice to go south. Fatigue is something that we're going to combat. The longer practice goes, the more fatigue guys get, and the mental toughness has to come through of still doing the little things correctly. So that's a part of it.
Ben, on that topic, would you say your play calls are on the shorter end or longer end?
Depends. Depends on what we're trying to get done. I would have said 3 years ago, shorter end, and then things have gotten a little bit more complex. And now that we're back to building it from square one again, it's a blend of probably when I first started play calling to where I ended last year. And we're trying to find that right mix. We're also trying to challenge these guys and see how much we can handle too. Every position group on offense, we're trying to see how much they can download and what they can apply. And we'll revisit that as a staff at the end of OTAs and decide what the best course of action for us going forward into the season is going to look like. And training camp might be a little bit different because of that.
Saw Magaji at left tackle last week when we were here, and today it was Ozzie. Is it 1 day on, 1 day off for each guy, or is it based on how they're?
We're moving guys around. Yeah, we want to give everyone an opportunity. So, Darnell, we feel pretty comfortable keeping him at the right side right now. So the left side until we get Braxton back in the mix, it's going to be a little bit of musical chairs.
Would you consider right tackle settled then, that he's not going to move?
To be determined. Anything's on the table, and we're going to let the plan play out, which is keep them there for the time being and let these guys battle it out on the left side. And we can decide to change course whenever we need to.
Ben, what are you learning about what Caleb can handle at this point as you're kind of resetting for him?
Yeah, no, it's been consistent throughout. He's been very attentive. He's been very detailed in terms of the meetings. He's taking great notes. He's asking excellent questions. The more we're out on the grass together, we're figuring out what we can put in the morning and what we can execute later on in the afternoon. And so that's been the fun part of it so far, because there's for everybody, there's a saturation level that we got to find what that point is, so that as coaches, we don't ask too much out of any player over the course of the season. We got to be able to download a game plan and execute it. And so it's been a healthy process right now. I think JT Barrett's doing a phenomenal job. Declan's a big part of that as well, just figuring out how much install we can push on these guys. And the good news is we got the weekend that they can get the plan and start ahead for the next week, and you can really see guys separate, not just at the quarterback position, but really all around on offense and defense, who's in their book a little bit extra than the next guy.
How have you seen Keenum helping Caleb throughout the process?
Case has been phenomenal. I haven't been with him in the past, but he came highly recommended from a number of people that I trust. He's got skins on the wall. I mean, he's been to playoff games. He's won playoff games. He's done it at a high level. He's been the number 2 quarterback at a number of different places as well. So his experience level is off the charts. He's seen a little bit of everything that this league has to offer, and I can say from my experience of being in the room with him, he finds a good way to ask questions that I might not, or Declan or JT, we might not have provided the answer to prior. So he does a good job filling those gaps. And then, of course, we're constrained so much by the time limits in the springtime that he's able to help the process when we're not in there as coaches.
On that note, we saw him the last 2 weeks with like running the twos, and today with the 2-minute offense, him still there in that position. Is he in running that for that position, him and Tyson?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's how we explained it to him. That's how we explained it to Tyson. We're going to continue to mix up the reps over the course of the preseason, and then at some point in training camp, we'll make a decision with who has earned that number 2 job, and we'll go with it. But for right now, we got to battle. Just like we've been saying from the start of the springtime, there is no depth chart. We want as much competition to create growth that we possibly can.
I know you were joking with us last week about your body language being something you wanted to work on, and there was a report that Caleb's body language is something that you guys are focusing on in meetings and all of that. Like, what specifically do you want to work on him with in that respect?
Man, there's adversity that's going to hit every team every season. You don't know when it's going to happen. We might lose a few games. We might have some turnovers, and yet just the wherewithal of we're steering the ship, we're going the right direction. It's not woe is me. We are going to take everyone around us, we're going to elevate them, and we're going to look to forge ahead to what's next. And so it's not dwelling on the past. It's not whether it's last season, last play, last game. We learn from it, we grow, and we move on. And so our body language needs to reflect that as well.
Does
What
that
type
apply?
of examples have you given Caleb about body language of quarterbacks that you work with, that you've seen, that you want him to kind of reflect, and how do you come about kind of this realization as you were studying up on him coming to this job?
No, we early in the process, we sat down and we watched some tape from a year ago, and we talked it through. It's like, do we really want to? Is this what we want to look like or not? And we come to an agreement. No, it's not. And okay, we learn from it and we move on to the next thing. So, yeah, it's body language is a huge thing. Demeanor. We don't want to be a palms up team where we're questioning every. No. That's, to me, that's a little bit of a sign of weakness, and we don't want to exhibit that from anybody on the team.
How does that apply to DJ Moore? There were some instances last year where his body language was caught on camera and caused some people to ask some questions. Is
Yeah.
it similar with him? Have you talked to him about?
Yeah, we've talked to the entire team about what we want it to look like, what good teams do, what playoff teams do. This is the example we're setting, and this is the direction we're going. So the good news is this: we have a phenomenal coaching staff, a lot of which were former players in this league and did it at the highest level. And what they say carries weight with our guys. They know what it looks like. We have a number of guys that we brought in free agency this year that they know what good football looks like as well. So, yeah, it's all about educating, showing them what we're going to be about going into next season.
So then more.
We learned last week that you're gonna do multiple crossover practices.
Yeah.
What's your vision for marrying those together, and how that will enhance your August? And will those be multiple days with each team, or are you just gonna do the one?
The plan is just to be one day with each of those teams, and the way I viewed those in the past has been it's a good opportunity to break up camp a little bit, controlled setting, yet high intensity. I think the competitive nature of just about everybody, once you get in between those white lines against an opponent like that, it goes up another notch. And so that'll be it'll be at that point at training camp where we've had, call it 12, 13, 14 practices in, and just a little bit different will be good for us, for everybody, coaches and players alike. It'll be fun to go against a different scheme, and that thought process, the problems that arise that way, but also for our players being able to compete against a different opponent. So the controlled setting of it's really important, and I'm excited both those opportunities.
Coach, what do you know about Coach Allen that maybe you didn't even know when you hired him? And as you're installing your offense, he's installing his defense. What are you seeing from that defense?
Yeah, no, I've had the pleasure of sitting in on a number of his meetings so far, and he just it's everything I thought it would be. Really, it's a guy that's done it at a high level. He's coordinated, he's orchestrated a number of high performing defenses. Whether it's points allowed, whether it's third down defense, whether it's red zone, he's got a plan. He's super smart. Shoot, we were just sitting in my office yesterday talking about some game management things that have popped up. Whether it's here in Chicago, where I was at the past, where he was in the past, and we see the game naturally the same way. And so he's aggressive by nature. I can appreciate that about him, and I think he's got a great message every time these guys walk into the building and go to one of his meetings. And so I'm really excited about working with him.